We are getting ready to go. Just a couple more minutes and we're going to be launching into space. We are playing both Everspace 1 and Everspace 2 again for the stream. I already saw some hype from Gordon about still playing Everspace 1, so this could be a fun time to ask questions and get more information about it since it is 85% off right now. What? Ridiculous. We'll be diving in very soon. Very, very soon. Oh my goodness, boys and girls, I am delivering this stream on time. I am quite pleased by the results of this. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the official Rockfish Games stream where I am your host. Here, let's get some sound in the background too. I am your host, Eric Schrader, the community ambassador for Rockfish Games. Oh my gosh, it is a delight. It's been a while. Last week we were at PAX South and wow, the support from you guys has been incredible. We had so many people showing up to the booth. So many people. We had these flyers, people just taking them left and right. Jerry Holkins, if you don't know who that is, you're in trouble. Jerry Holkins, we had like a 5 to 10 minute conversation about how much he really enjoys Everspace 1 and how he's looking forward to Everspace 2. Just incredible little details like that. Like, it was just an absolute blast. Getting to meet some of you guys, shaking your hands, giving you high fives, and collecting dem business cards. Respect. Man, it is a solid time. Look at all these fantastic people in chat. We got Gordon Lynn, we've got Jim Lott, Jackson, I can't pronounce your last name, as always, rocking it over on YouTube. We got a lot of people moving over in Twitch. We got Longbottom, Matsumuri Media, Sly Cooper Reloaded, Coded, Tulul, Tulameo, Solstice, Bloodstar, Sin Cherub, Goodness Gravy, Zerilia, Blood Dragon, Michael RFG, the big bad boss himself. Welcome, Captain. Oh my gosh, plenty more, I'm sure, are out there lurking. Seriously, this is what makes my week. Just seeing all of us come together and just embracing over something we love. Which, you know, oh my gosh, this is great. So you guys have been fantastic already just for being here. Oh, and also, can I get some hype for PAX East? We're going to be going to PAX East as well in about a month, and I'm actually going to it. I actually didn't think I was going to be able to. This will be my first PAX East experience. I'm really looking forward to that. So if you guys are going to PAX East, you definitely need to make sure that I know so I can look for you and also give you all dem high fives, hugs, and whatever else you want. But don't get too crazy. I'm a married man, okay? Excellent. Oh my gosh, PAX East! I'm so looking forward to it. So, I do have to give the original sound off, though, for anybody who has no idea what Everspace is, Everspace 2, or even what Rockfish Games is, just to kind of like loop you in. Basically, we're going to be playing some arcadey space shooting goodness on the stream today. We're starting off with Everspace 1. This game has been out for a couple of years now, and as such, it is on a very large sale right now for the Steam Lunar New Year's. It is 85% off. In American dollars, that's like $4.50-ish cents. It's somewhere around there. I can't maths right now, okay? So it's incredibly affordable. So even if you buy it and you don't end up liking it, at least you saved a ton of money, and plus I think there's a refund policy. But beyond that, this will help you get on in there with some tips and tricks to guide you through that process. It should be dandy. More people saying hello. Yes, we are live. Hey, hey, long time no see, Jeff. Hey, Russell. It's very good to see you as well. All right. Yeah, and Matsumuri, he's going to be back at PAX East with us, as well as 31 Fox, who I don't see in the stream, but we have been, oh my gosh, so enjoyable. Okay, let's go in here. I have no idea where this is continuing from. I hope it's a new run. If it's not, we'll make it so. Okay, so yeah, we need to make it a new run. Oh, this is Sector 6 even. Wow, man, things got pretty crazy here. Well, actually, let's just do this really quick. I'm going to show you one of the core mechanics of Everspace, and that is dying. The way that Everspace works is that it is run-based. It uses a roguelike formula, so every time that you play, you have a procedurally generated environment that you have to navigate and extract all of your resources from, have all of your combat in, everything, as well as picking up your upgrades along the way. Now, when you die, everything is lost. All of that progress you made, zoop, it's gone, except for your credits that you take back to the hangar with you, just like this, where you will apply new upgrades. Now, we're actually maxed on upgrades. This is a very late game run situation. So everything is like crazy, crazy good for us. We have all 4 ships maxed out here. The 4th ship is a DLC ship. It's exclusive to purchasing the DLC, which I think is also on sale right now, if I'm not mistaken. DLC adds a ton of content. Don't take my word for it, though. Ask the community itself. Community rants and raves over the DLC and how much it adds. It's a good time. So definitely look into that if you are considering purchasing Everspace 1. I know it kind of sounds like I'm trying to like push the sale on it because I work for Rockfish, but with all actuality, from a gaming perspective, especially as a roguelike enthusiast myself, when you add just a little bit more content that is combined into every single run, that makes the replayability factor skyrocket. So if this is something that like maybe you get a taste of, it's a lot better to add the DLC when you first start as opposed to wait to add the DLC like when you've fully completed the game. And that is because of how much it really covers the game in. It's basically like a nice gravy over the top of your mashed potatoes, or I don't know why I was going that analogy. Did you know that Germans don't do gravy? Fun fact, we're a German company. I made fun of gravy all the time whenever I go over for Gamescom. Anyway, we are so excited about talking about everything apparently. Oh my gosh. All right, goodness gravy. That's right, Bloodstar. Oh, you guys know me too well. All right. Oh, Arvindor from Twitch. Yes, excellent. Yes, I do remember you. Welcome to the stream. Got it. I'm now catching up on chat because I'm talking about gravy. Oh my goodness. But don't you worry, we're going to dive into a fresh new run. And when I say fresh new run, I mean fresh new run. That's right. A lot of you have seen me do this before, but we are completely resetting the game starting from square one. So you would know exactly what you would be getting into should you start the game the first time as well. I'm also customizing a couple of features. We did try to provide a lot of accessibility options for your viewing pleasure. We know that there are some features that did never make it in, but we are still quite satisfied with the results for Everspace 1. It is a content-complete game. We're not working on it anymore because we are working on Everspace 2. Woo! All right. Let's see. Anything else to address before we fly? I don't think so. I think we're just going in. So I'm going to do one other... No, we're just going to go in. So let's get started. And I do sincerely encourage any of you to ask questions along the way.
Something's not right with me. I'm having memory loops. There was a dispute. I was standing in the way of their plans. I was restrained. Shot with something. Who is this? I managed to escape. That's all I can remember. I must find some answers.
Perfect. So you're already getting a sampling of the story that unfolds before you. Before they start talking, I'm going to pause it right now. I want to talk about the story ever so slightly. So as a roguelike experience, and even roguelites, of course, a lot of times the story doesn't necessarily matter. There's not really a strong sense of some overarching power struggle or character development, because when you have this cycle, normally the way it works is that when you die, the story ends, and when you start over, the story really begins from there, right? So we actually chose a different formula on how we tell the story throughout Everspace. And I really do encourage you who have played Everspace before and weren't really paying attention to the story, or didn't have it unlock in a timely fashion, which happens to a lot of people because of the challenge of the game. I do encourage you to return to the game, try it again, and see what happens when you really do embrace that story from start to finish. There is something that's pretty heavy to kind of like unpack within it, something that can kind of get deep if you want it to. Of course, you can just pick up the game to blow stuff up, but the reason why I'm putting emphasis on this is because the story does continue in Everspace 2, and knowing what occurs through these events and what you do is going to help bring all of that to fruition whenever we do finalize the second game. All right, so let's go ahead and dive in. I will be letting you hear the story at the beginning of the game, just kind of settle in. For anybody who hasn't seen it, just to be tantalized, of course. Otherwise, we are going to be talking tips and tricks and stuff as we pummel through our foes. I'm also going to skip the tutorial.
What's my objective?
Reaching your destination.
And where is that?
It's still a long way to go. You will understand more when we get there.
I would prefer some more substance to your answers.
Alright, so one of the very first things that we need to talk about is actually the first pop-up of the entire game. Energy. This is one of the most, if not is the most important resource to manage within the bounds of Everspace. And the reason for this is because this is operating your weaponry and your boosting. They're tied to the same energy pool. So if you boost too much, you're not able to fire, and if you fire too much, you're not able to boost. This means absolute havoc in a combat situation. And on top of all of this, your energy pool starts in its absolute lowest values at the very start of the game, which makes sense because of the progression mechanics, but I digress. So let's talk about this ever so slightly further, because it's so important. When you shoot your weapon, your energy goes down. When you boost, your energy goes down. It does not come back until you stop firing and stop boosting. After destroying a single enemy, I am completely out of energy because I didn't manage it very well. If we had to face 2 or even 3 fighters in one situation, we could have been a sitting duck right there. Alright? So this is why it's very, very important to manage your energy carefully as you approach any upcoming situations. Also, because it's a roguelike, you want to extract as many resources as possible to give you an advantage through the course of the run. Now, I'm kind of going a little bit faster here just to kind of keep the pacing up. But most of that's going to be destroying opponents and gathering any contents and containers away from little stations and various outposts like this. We also just removed a jump suppressor. This little guy keeps us from warping to the next location. Alright? And so we need to deactivate these as quickly as possible. Something about them, though, is that they cannot be destroyed. You have to play this game of hot and cold. Maybe you saw it, maybe you didn't, maybe I went a little fast, but you have to play this game of hot and cold and get really close to it to deactivate it. You'll hack into it, turns it off. Now, when I say hot and cold, I'm referring to a percentile meter in the upper right that says jumping suppressed. The higher percentage it gets, the closer you are. The lower percentage it gets, the further you are. If you get to 0%, that does not mean you're able to jump. That means you're the furthest away from it, and you still can't jump. So please understand that very, very foundational mechanic that is established in the game, because you want to be moving forward, always. So let's keep taking out some enemy foes here. Oh, it's just some drones. Alright.
They've locked onto you.
a couple more resources. The next big thing about Everspace is that you want to explore as much as possible. There are large sites or large points of interest that can populate. Like this has some mineable crystal inside of it and some mineable ore on the other side. Sometimes when you take care to explore inside and around these sites, you'll see some other fascinating things going on, but more importantly, you'll find new containers like this that could have some really nice goods for you. Finding 8 power cells is going to give us a crafting advantage. That's going to be very beneficial if things go south for us. All right. Glad you're all doing well in chat. Man, look at this. This is a sight to behold right here. This does not happen frequently. That's actually... This is like screenshot potential right there. Like, that's really freaking cool. Oh my gosh. I'm actually going to take a screenshot of this. So I'm actually in the screenshot generator right now. Basically what that means is we have an action freeze in the game. And you can, at any point in time, separate yourself away from your ship and look around. You can take some really sick screenshots. Our community does it all the time. It's gorgeous, really. Except when you're clipping the asteroid itself. Lots of really cool, fun things you can do with that. Man, I can't believe that happened. That is wild. Basically, this green goo got stuck on the hitbox of the crystal itself. We'll let him go there. Anyway. Alright, so we want to find as much resources as possible to give us that crafting and upgrade advantage throughout the run. Now you can mine resources from asteroids and, well, from a lot of different sites, really. From in space by flying up to it. I like to harvest it a little bit more quickly by firing light missiles at these mines. Or these ores, rather. Because an area of effect attack deals more damage overall and drops all the resources in one drop instead of multiple shots.
That's convenient.
So that can speed up your run just using a single missile. Alright, so let's talk about evasion really quick, because we did already address energy management. When you're boosting left and right, it's really good evasion, of course, but it can also make it very difficult to evade when you run out of energy. So something that I always like to talk about is this concept of circle strafing. Kind of present in a lot of 6 Degrees of Freedom games, where if you're moving up, then to the left, then down, and then to the right, and you keep doing so at a timely pace, this is going to make it very difficult for your opponents to hit you. This is because the leading shots they're taking are never going to reach where your ship is going, since it's moving in a larger circle than where your ship's at. And I think the best part about this overall is that it doesn't require any energy whatsoever, so you can maximize your weapon output or give you the opportunity to boost away when things get too hot. Like when the Okar forces are inbound, for example, and you have to jump to the next area. This is a very basic mechanic as well. It pushes you forward through each of these nodes as we progress. If you're wondering why we got so far ahead, it's actually because those first 2 points were the tutorial, which I skipped. All right. So every time you jump, it generates an entirely new location for you to explore and destroy your foes and collect resources, all of that type of stuff at random, and it's going to get harder with every sector that you go through. I have now covered every single basic in Everspace, so you know how to play the game properly. Alright? Perfect. I'm sure we'll get more questions through the stream. Please, please, please ask me anything at all. Again, my name is Eric Schrader. I'm the Community Ambassador for Rockfish Games. I also do work on the development team. I work directly with the developers. So I'm giving them your feedback. I'm giving them my own feedback. I'm doing all sorts of stuff behind the scenes. So know that I do have that knowledge. It's not just I'm a pretty face for you in the community. But yeah, so ask any questions. That's my point. Ask any questions whatsoever. I'll see if I can get you answered. All right. Job's done. Stream's over, I guess. Oh my gosh, imagination deformed. You's a funny man. I like you. It's good. Oh man. So this jump gate.
The primary method of travel between systems.
Thanks, Hive.
These were built by gradient prospects for their mining drones to reach areas more efficiently.
Okay, thanks for the introduction. Now, you want me to use this?
It is the only way to the next sector. So, yes.
Excellent.
Outlaws. Independent operators with varying affiliations, profiting from trafficking, extortion, illegal weapons trade, piracy, drone smuggling.
Maybe they have something I need.
So, as you can kind of see, as we're playing, we're getting a little bit of information here and there from the Hive, is what I call them. An automated computer. It actually stands for Human Interface Virtual Entity. They are designed by the Colonials to give the military persons a counterpart so they don't go crazy in space, basically. And the Hive is connected to a system known as the Eterna system. Basically, this is how we are able to use the jump gates. So if we didn't have a Hive, or if we didn't have the Eterna system, we wouldn't be able to go through that jump gate. Like, at all. Just zero, none, nada. But because you always have the Hive with you, and you're always connected to the Eterna system, you don't have to worry about that. You just play it like a roguelike. But all of that rich Codex lore, it's all here. Everything you want to know about it, it's there. Like, if you're a lore junkie like myself, we made sure to satisfy with lots of little hidden details and doodads. So yeah, so this can get really deep if you like a story-driven narrative. Alright, let's look through this asteroid. Oh.
The Okar are a reptilian race with a tendency towards reactive behavior. They are indigenous to the cluster, and the Colonials uninvited guests. Distrust runs deep.
So now we've met the Outlaws, we've met the Okar. The Okar, just as he's described, ooh, scattergun could be a lot of fun. This is basically a shotgun in space, but I think we need to hang on to the Gatling. You know what, let's do it for kicks and giggles. But the Okar and the Colonials had a very large conflict prior to our beginnings of the game. And as such, they're not exactly buddy-buddy with us, even though they're not inherently bad. There we go. Ooh. Let's use a plasma mine on this guy. He's gonna fly right towards us. Good enough. Ooh, a sensor drone? We'll launch this bad boy. You can always only have one drone out at a time, but the sensor drone is going to vastly increase our sensors so that we can see stuff way further out than normal. So we can see this mineable ore way over there, that mineable ore over there. There might even be some contents over here. Maybe, maybe not. I see a station, so we're going to go look. Hey, Zythongs! Oh, yeah, it does say that we're streaming Everspace 2. We are going to be transitioning between Everspace 1 and 2. So, just ignore that little detail for now. Oh, is this the base we already cleared? I think it is. Yeah, we did. How silly is that? So let's just go to the jump gate and see what's on the other side. Bloodstar saying he's been ghosted again. Glad to see things haven't changed. Hey, thanks for noticing I got a haircut. Yeah, this is pretty long. Last stream. Title police. That's fine. If somebody gets this confused with Everspace 2, my apologies. But this is Everspace 1. This is where it all began.
Strange. Fragments of memories. Trying to make sense of them. I had managed to escape. I was weak and ill. My cells were deteriorating. A deadly poison. A cytotoxin. Slow. Relentless. Eating me away. There was a way to halt its progress, but it would take time. All I could do was set the wheels in motion and await the outcome in stasis. A long, uncertain sleep.
Alright, so we are discovering a little bit more about our character, especially when Hive talks to us right here, or when we talk to Hive.
Myself again. Dying.
This must be a memory from your original. Apparently a flaw in the transference protocol. The Eterna system was meant to filter such personal recollections.
Wait, what are you saying? My original? I'm
A clone, yes. Usually this is not realized by limited-use copies. The function of Eterna was to pass on operational skills, such as piloting. But it seems that something has gone wrong here.
Stop. This is a lot to take on board all at once. Why is this happening? Who am I? Who is my original?
I have no information on that. Perhaps there is a purpose to this aberration which will become clear upon reaching the coordinates given. I have no answers, unfortunately, but I am as curious as you are.
So, yeah, you could call that a spoiler, I suppose, but it's found out pretty early in the game that you're a clone. This is actually how we're able to keep the storytelling going, even when you die and start over. It's because that point of where you begin is the cloning facility, and you're trying to reach this end destination for some particular reason that I am not going to explain to you at this point in time, since I know that there could be new individuals diving into the game right now for it being 85% off. I want you to enjoy that. It's a very pleasant story, truly. I'm not just making this up. Like, I really liked it. I think our team was pretty satisfied with the results overall. If you really soak yourself into the story, it delivers a pretty solid experience. All right. Pure clip gold. My head's exploding. Oh my goodness. Yeah, it just is that mind-blowing experience. That's what I was really going for there. I'm sure you all noticed. I'm sure you got it. Somebody's gonna clip it. All right, let's find some loot. I hope. Careful. Excellent. So it takes a little bit longer to fire resources down, and you'd be surprised at how much of a difference saving a couple seconds makes in a standard run of Everspace. It can really cost you your entire run if you're not careful. Oh no! Don't destroy my
Result.
sensor drone. Well, that sucks. Rip, Lenny. You will forever be missed. 2020 to 2020. Boom! Let's see what we can loot from this place. Gel, perfect. Some more credits. That's great. Get some fuel. Oh, we're already max fuel. Didn't need to blow that up, but it was awesome. There's not too much else in this area, it looks like. Ooh. There's a little minefield with some goodies. 12 compound. I'll take it. Looks like we have another large asteroid over there. And a GMB credits transport! We are totally thieving this. Oh my gosh, we're going to do the dirty right on stream. That's right, you heard it here first, folks. Goodness. So, the GMB, let's do a quick lore session.
Probably, but I would not advise it as it may draw unwanted attention.
It's true. So we have 3 fighters here. This is not going to do us justice at all. These are very large fighters that pack a punch. They have their own automated turrets on top of them. And there's 3 of these bad boys, much larger than ourselves. They're probably looking at us going, what's he doing? He can't be doing something that crazy. But look at all these credits. That is 5, these green containers, this right here. This is what you shoot whenever you want to engage with one of these transports. This green bit. If you shoot the ship itself, even this area, like where the command deck, that's what it's called, the command deck. You shoot anywhere else, you're going to bring down the whole ship and you're going to lose the contents of these containers. You want to blast the containers apart. There are 10 credit containers on this bad boy. We are taking this so hard. We're just taking all of it. GMB lore, really quick, in a nutshell. GMB are a mining corporation that established themselves after the Okar colonial conflict. They're essentially colonial ragtags that wanted to make a profit. They have full permissions based on the treaties that were established to exist here, even though the Okar are policing the area. Caught up to speed? Good. So GMB are not evil. Well, I mean, I suppose you could go that direction from an ethical standpoint, but that's a topic for another day. They are neutral to you because they don't necessarily care of you being here, as opposed to the Okar, which identify you as a colonial fighter and say, you're not supposed to be here, GTFO. All right? These are the base level interactions that we have with the various factions in the game. But also, all of that being said, if you happen to upset the GMB, they will absolutely open fire. Much like the Hive is telling us about and this prompt gives you. So if you're not making this correlation, then you're going to suffer considerably through the game space. Basically, TLDR is fire at GMB, they fire back. Don't fire at GMB, don't fire back. Perfect.
I can see that now, thanks.
Let's try not to die now. Oh, wow. 4,000 credits. I'm calling that worth. I'm calling that worth. Now, we do have a little bit of a situation here. So, we're going to hide. Oh, that's a drone. Get the drone. Okay. So another big thing about the GMB is that when you fight them, they actually report your attack. So just fighting them once is not necessarily the best of things, because now our next jump, we're going to have to deal with the repercussions of these actions. We're getting so many credits, though. I'm calling this worth. And one of the only reasons I'm able to capitalize on this approach is because I have mines. And because I'm using very evasive tactics in order to overcome these guys. Oh, we're starting to take damage, though. Our shields are down. It's got to be a little bit more smooth. The scattergun also really helps. This shotgun up close, like these guys have so many hole points. I know that I made that look easy. I've played this game a bajillion times. But, like, these guys do not mess around, okay? What I just did in engaging all of this, not easy, not for the faint of heart. It's a challenge. But we got the right drops, we had the right opportunities ahead of us, and that's what you really are trying to do within Everspace 1, is you're trying to capitalize on those opportunities and improvise in the moment with what you have. And it worked for us. It worked well. It worked quite well. Let's go ahead and pick up some more resources before jumping out. We could gather more. Actually, I'll show this off because I think I need to explore that asteroid. There's a different resource, plasma. And each of the resources can be applied to various upgrades and whatnot. So, like, plasma is going to be more found in constructing consumables. Whereas, like, crystal, for example, that's going to be more for your weaponry.
The level of destruction is breathtaking.
Hostilities only ceased when resources were exhausted, forcing both sides to the negotiating table. A demilitarized zone was created as a buffer zone, monitored by the Okar authorities. Only time will heal the rift between the species.
There you are. Ooh. Just finding a couple more items in here. You do have to do this manual exploration on a timer, so the more time you spend looking about, the less time you have overall, obviously.
You are acquiring a taste for cast-offs, by the looks of things.
Pretty pleased with these results, so even though the Okar are showing up, we did gather a lot of goodies. Oh, there's another one. Look at this. Oh my gosh, it's just an item trail. So many credits. Oh! Oh! Peace. Whew, that was close. So, when that Okar timer starts going off, you want to get out, because they can crush you if you are not careful. Well, I see a question. Can we expect to get easily into Everspace 2, having been accustomed to how Everspace 1 plays? This is actually a fantastic question from Blarghonk over on Twitch. And I am delighted to tell you, yes. The controls from Everspace 1 to Everspace 2 are incredibly similar. In fact, it's largely been inspired by the feedback and the support we got from the community. Everyone loved the fluidity. It's the biggest. I think that's the best word to describe the motion of Everspace, is that it's incredibly fluid, and we definitely are carrying that over. So if you are a veteran in Everspace 1, when you start things out of the gates in Everspace 2, it's going to feel right at home for you. And this is even saying, like, it's a complete genre change. Not the flow. Flow, fluidity, that general feel. That's good. Very good. Hey, it's Captain Richard! What a delight. And it was such a pleasure to run into you at PAX South, I must say. What a champion among men. He even brought some other crazy characters by our booth. So good. Alright, let's keep moving. Love the game, can't wait for the new one. Any chance the sequel will have custom controller binds?
Radiant units must have received the emergency call.
Okay, so Hive's telling us that GMBs, they're still hostile with this. I want to answer this question from YouTube Green Levin. So we do have controller bindings set up on PC for Everspace 1. I believe we're going to be carrying over that exact same process to Everspace 2 for PC. Now, as far as controller support goes for consoles, it is a much more challenging process to give full key binding support in that, and a lot of that comes down through approvals, and it's just much easier for both you and for us if we keep it to various control schemes that you like. So if there is a particular control scheme that you prefer whenever you're playing on controller, I highly recommend diving into our community network, whether that's through Discord or Twitter or Reddit or our forums at everspace.game, and letting us know how you play so we can make those proper implementations before the games come out in 2021. We have a lot of time, and we are more than willing to work with you guys because we want to make this the best experience possible. And I think that you want us to do that as well. So, very good. Good question. Let's keep going. With GMB ticked off at us because we took all of those credits. But look, man, we have over 10,000 credits just from like that single little raid there. I'm telling you, that was worth it.
What?
They will attack you on sight, so try not to get too close.
Good news is that we got...
Shipwrecks. What are they?
Colonial fleet warships.
We'll let him talk first.
By Okar fighters during the war. You will find such wrecks scattered throughout the demilitarized zone.
Oh, this is a rare find. Oh my gosh. How lucky are we to find these little critters? I bet I bet a lot of you veterans in the game haven't even seen these before. These are hard to find. They only spawn in electrical storms that surround asteroids. That is great. Oh, and these tongues move on the plants. Those tongues are moving. See those wiggling tongues? Trying to get it up in your old face. That's right. Cool. Now you might be wondering why I showed that off at all, because like I couldn't do anything with it. Well, I can't do anything with it right now. But if we had a particular mission from our boy Throng, we would definitely be delighting in finding that. Alright, let's take on some of these Okar. These little pests, oh man, these are problem drones. These sensor drones knock out all of your abilities to lock on to anything until they are down. Now thankfully, they weren't too troublesome, but sometimes they can be a real doozy. Locked out quite nicely though. What has been your highest grossing run playing Everspace? Blarg Honk, I don't actually have a screenshot of it, but I netted about 210k in a single run. My highest actually recorded is 165. I think it's about it's around 165k. But you can get real high credit score. It's a good question. Oh, I should be looking at what's ahead of me instead of chat. Whoops! It's just because I love you guys so much. I want to make sure you're getting the attention and the responses that you deserve. So we'll just call that a love bump. Alright, it's fine. There we go. I'm sure we'll get some nanobots to make up for it. No? That's okay. We'll figure it out. Let's go meet this guy. I've never met him before, ever. A single time, even.
What's going on here?
Vermin, drag shot, bottom feeders, plague rats.
Should we help this individual? It is a colonial ship, but it doesn't sound like a human pilot.
The ship is unregistered. Choose carefully when it comes.
Alright, so we are meeting this guy who seems to be being assaulted. And we're going to help him out. See what we can do here. Okay, this is going to be funny. I'm going to trigger this cutscene even though there were enemies trying to attack. But then they just stop attacking me.
Certain outlaws will not play by the unwritten rules of this sector.
Plot armor.
Well, we've taken care of the problem. For now.
We've not yet been introduced. I am Tareen, merchant of many diverse wares.
An Okar trader? Here in the demilitarized zone? Now that's a first.
I admit it's unusual, but I am no mere trader, rather a purveyor of special acquisition. People want specific objects, I provide them what they want.
That sounds fairly straightforward.
So I'm giving you a little bit of taste of what these character interactions are going to be like. These characters, like Tareen here, they are exclusive to the DLC. So this is what I'm talking about in adding these layers to the game that add a lot of replayability to it, because each of these characters will have their entire own quest lines to boot. So you do stuff for them, they will reward you handsomely, and in cases, and in some regards, and capacities that you would otherwise not receive at all in the standard game. So we're going to go ahead and skip the rest of this conversation. Done and done. We are ready to move on. So now, basically what he wants us to do is gather 200 scrap. We do not have that much at all. But what I can do is deliver him a little sampling of scrap and then come back to him in the next run. So, for example, I could give him 50 scrap.
Much appreciated. And
now I only owe him 150. And you can keep track of all of this stuff in your missions right here. So he's been added right there. I still need to deliver 150. Game just knows. It's crazy magical. Wonderful. Viewer 160 over on YouTube actually asks a really good question. Will we be able to enter a bar at the station and interact with other characters to receive missions? So the way that we are designing, and this is for Everspace 2, I presume, it does not exist in Everspace 1. All of the interactions are basically in space. In Everspace 2, you will be able to go, you can stop at stations, deliver goods, have interactions with job boards and stuff like that, but you're never exiting the ship itself. The ship is your player character, and through that, all of your interactions, all of your experiences are from the ship. So even when you dock at a station inside of space, okay, like you're in space, you'll dock on the exterior of the base. You'll do all of your interactions, your trading, your job boards, your, all of that stuff, and then you'll fly directly off of the base in space. It's pretty simple, pretty clean. So we didn't have to add a bunch of unnecessary assets to the game that would just take a lot longer for us to develop it for you guys. We're doing this approach so we can put a lot of emphasis on the itemization and the customization of your ship itself. That's where we're putting a lot of that work in. Otherwise, we just have a space station simulator where you could like do a bunch of stuff inside of it and have all these character models that aren't used anywhere else. So some people really desire that type of stuff. It's just not the direction we're going in, and we hope that you understand why. Very good. Oh, why am I shooting this guy with my shotgun at his shields? That was silly. The reason it was silly is because I forgot to talk about one of the most important things about weapons, and that is that you have two different types of DPS in Everspace. Hull DPS and shield DPS. Hull DPS is only effective against the hull. That damage is entirely negated if you're hitting a shield with it. Shield DPS is the damage it does to shields. Good job, excellent, fantastic. But that shield DPS does no damage to the hull. So when you fire a pulse laser at its shields, you're going to do about 73.3 damage per second. But if you fire your pulse laser at the hull, it's only going to do 26.67 hull damage per second. On the flip side, the scatter gun is only going to do a mere 37.65 shield damage per second, which is why it was sad when we fired the shotgun at the shields of that Okar fighter. But it deals 89.41 hull damage per second. So breaking their shields and then firing a scattergun shot does a lot of damage. Will there be VR support for the second game like the first? This is another really great question from Kyle Katarn. Love me some Star Wars referential material. It's a shame that you're stuck in the expanded universe basically forever, but I digress. So VR, we received a lot of feedback from the first game and a lot of criticism from it, as we should have. It was definitely a unique experience in building it out as a bonus to the game. The community wanted it. We developed it accordingly in that sense. And because it was an addition to the game that you just basically got, I think that there wasn't as much attention to it as there probably could have been. There were people buying the VR experience of Everspace to only play it in VR. That's all they wanted to play it for, when it's not necessarily a VR game. It's just a bonus to have if you have VR. And as such, that's what we really got destroyed about in the discussions. And like I said, if you're buying it specifically for VR and you're buying it into like you're getting a game that's VR was added on to it as a bonus instead of like very carefully applied in its entirety with all of this focus and dedication to it, like I can actually understand why that would be a little bit of a frustrating experience. We were really happy with the results of VR because it's a bonus to the game. But if we go that route for Everspace 2, what we'll end up doing is make it its own separate application so we can truly focus in on everything to make it the best VR experience possible, since it's, entirely designed in its own pocket to do that. So that's if we go in that direction. We're still talking internally about if the VR experience is going to be crafted or not. There's a lot to do. We're still getting story elements pushed through, if that gives you an idea. We're still working on all the assets itself, making an additional game essentially for VR. That would be a lot of work, it'd be a lot of dedication, and we are considering it. So just know that that's kind of where we're at, but there's no guarantee for VR as well. We also, actually, Michael says another really strong point there. He said a lot of people didn't even look into Everspace 1 because they thought it was a VR-only game. That's a really good point. Kind of hurt us a bit more there, since it's, again, VR is a bonus. It's not like the main area. And a lot of people looked at our game and they're like, oh, it's like a space simulation VR experience. That couldn't be further than truth, right? So we want to be much more accustomed to what our demographic desires and focus in on that. And if we have the time and we have the space, then we will pursue a VR experience for Everspace 2. Cool! Good. Blarg Honk says, since the scattergun charges, is that DPS by charging it or just fire as fast as possible? That DPS is calculated by firing it as fast as possible. The whole damage overall is 152. So what that means is that at a full charge, that's how much damage it's going to push out. And the shield damage is a mere 64. Something else to point out is that when you do reach a full charge, behind my head, it shows this little number right. Let's see if I can point at it. Perfect. It shows 6 right there. 6 more added projectiles. So that's going to do even more damage on top of your blasting situation. What's really great about this is whenever you combine it with critical hit chance, because every single one of the projectiles of a scattergun has that same percentage chance to hit critically. And as such, the scattergun in a critical hit build can be really awesome. Can be. Alright.
Thank you.
Let's keep pushing this run through, because we only have about 10 minutes left. I don't want to show too much more of the story, because I want to keep it mysterious for you. Well, we'll see what else we run into here. Still so much more to this game that I don't know about. There are a lot of subtleties and expanded features in the realm of Everspace than I think a lot of people really took in at first. And I'm not saying that, like, people didn't understand, oh, you so stupid! No, goodness gravy, not even close. Everspace is that type of game that the more time you put into it, the more time you invest, the more it ends up giving back, because you start uncovering those subtleties. You start refining your skill-based progression to overcome these incredible odds, and then start having a lot of fun by mixing and matching these play styles that you simply enjoy with situations that aren't really optimal, but you just feel incredible for doing anyway, right? For example, we actually did a ramming speed run. This was live. We did a live ramming speed run where we weren't allowed to use primary weapons at all. And through the course of that run, we took out well over 30 to 40 enemies, which is a low number in a comparison run, but like, this is all done by ramming. And one of those enemies was an Okar frigate. We rammed him to death. So mixing and matching some really crazy builds and options can, I mean, like I said, is incredibly rewarding if you spend the time in the game and then the game just gives it right back. It's wonderful. Alright, so this is something that's important to talk about. This G&B fighter, he is neutral again because a lot of time has passed since we attacked the G&B. So the G&B, I think we fought here, if I'm not mistaken. They were still hostile here, but we didn't engage with any of the G&B forces. So nobody reported us again because they didn't see us or because we didn't engage. So now we're clean slate again.
This is to highlight a
Clean slate.
fighter.
Clean slate?
Will be
Clean
harder
slate.
to take down.
We'll have to see about that.
Yeah, a lot of people enjoy HOTAS as well, Calcaturn. So we are definitely bringing HOTAS support back. Confirmed. And we're happy with we're very happy with the results of that. So very, very happy. Woot! Nice. All right, let's take this guy out. Not that this elite fighter needs the help, but we'll do it anyway. To get some fuel. Really? That's all we got? That's fine. Let's go ahead and jump to the next location. Maybe we can spawn in a larger Okar. Actually, no, we have about 7 minutes left of streaming Everspace 1, so what we're going to do is we're going to intentionally take too long in this next area. I'm going to show you what happens when the Okar show up. Yeah, Michael's making some other really good points about VR. It's just, it was really unfortunate situation overall. Just kind of a failure of communication on our part, I think. Like, I'm gonna admit that. Like, I think it was. Just some things probably could have been handled better, and the results, like, there wasn't any leeway. It was all just like, oh, well, we understand it differently, and because we understand it differently, then you're wrong. It sucked. It really actually sucked in the VR responses. We got a lot of negative reviews because of that. Just stinks all around. Also, if you can hear my wife vacuuming, you have great ears. Also, it means I have a fantastic mic. Should be momentary. Alright, we're going to take out this outlaw base. Bloodstar says, and a fantastic wife. Alright, well, I suppose that's pretty accurate. We have an event tonight, so we have a lot of people coming over. A clean house is a happy house. Alright. Something I don't think I talked about enough of are secondary weapons. So I have these missiles. And missiles have a certain range. I don't actually think that's going to... Oh, it did get far enough. So these missiles are consumed upon firing, as you would probably expect. But what's great about them is that they don't use any energy when you fire them. This is very important, especially for those of you who keep struggling with energy management or simply haven't got the full grasp of it yet, which is totally fine. We all start there. Trust me. Missiles basically alleviate any energy loss and say, I'm going to fire a standard amount of damage regardless. It's nice. It's quite nice. And look at this. We got them replenished. Perfectly replenished. That is dandy. So we're going to go ahead and float in space until the Okar arrive. Let's see what you guys are chatting about. Matsumuri says, it's true, she is fantastic. And Matsumuri had met my wife. Anybody, in fact, well, not anybody, but several individuals did have the pleasure of meeting my wife. She actually came along for the ride for PAX South. So that was quite pleasant. She coordinated our foodage. So anytime that we were leaving the convention hall and we were starving, she, for the most part, guided us to where we needed to go, and I do commend her for that. So Matsumura is not just saying that because he doesn't know a thing. He met my wife, and he knows her now. So that's pleasant. Thank you for that, James. I really do appreciate that. Are you going to stay longer when the Okar arrive? Yes. Eric will be with us shortly. He's just gaming right now. Absolutely. Basically, the event's not right now, Bloodstar. Okay, the event's later. Oh my goodness, that would be silly. I try not to be. I wouldn't want to be that guy where it's like I'm down here in my basement, all in my lonesome, while there's like a bunch of people over to my house. That's just rude. That's just silly rude. Vapin Gamers asks, okay, so since no one answered this in Discord, oh, my apologies. Sorry nobody answered it. Which controller is better to use when playing on PC, PS4 or Xbox? The best controller to use on PC is the controller that is this one. It's this is the best controller. And it's perfectly paired with a mouse. Obviously, I'm a little bit biased here. There's also a very fantastic device which is still in my travel bag. If Corbin's lurking, I am so sorry. There's a little fantastic device called a Move Master, which is essentially a keyboard, joystick-ish sort of thing. Basically, you attach it in a USB, and it allows you to move your hand about, assign your WASD to your hand motion. So it effectively creates kind of like a controller experience, except with the precision of a mouse and extra buttons like a keyboard. It is like the best of both worlds, and I highly recommend. However, it's a bit exclusive to the European region. Otherwise, I really do recommend people trying the game for mouse and keyboard. That is where it was initially designed. Obviously, if you are a console player through and through, then you should pick up the controller of your personal choosing. There's not necessarily an advantage over a PlayStation controller or an Xbox controller or whatever. So, perfect. I love the new engine sound. Sounds like a Hoover. Oh my goodness. Vapor Games flips a table. Excellent. I want mind control. Imagination to form. We're working on it. No, not really. We're not working on that. That'd be pretty crazy. Okay, so Okar forces inbound. What exactly happens here? Well, it's pretty self-explanatory, but basically they send in some bigger ships and a lot of their forces to come forcibly remove you from the sector. Now you'll also see here, this is a really good opportunity to see just how well this evasion, the circle strafing, works. You can see all the firing is just going around us. We are not getting touched by these dudes. Until we get flanked, they are coming in from behind. Okay. But they're just going to keep piling on here.
I like the sound of that.
We're also using Weapon Overdrive, which is a device. Oops, whoops. That basically enhances your damage. Who'd have thought? Just keeping the fighters at bay, I think, is the most important thing here. A little bit longer. Excellent. So now we have these two big ships. They're pretty large. They're definitely troublemakers. You also see they have jump suppressors on there, but they can't do anything because we can just go to the jump gate. So they're really not too much of a threat. And that's it. The Okar forces they're pretty menial. They're not really a big deal. They don't really, it's a piece of cake. Not true at all. These guys are absolutely savages. And if you wait too long, even after that, then come on. There we go. Perfect. Then some really nasty bad boys show up, and they are not messing around at all. So, yeah, we're going to say goodbye. Whoop. Zoom. And that's that. We're going to end it right there with our Everspace 1. We're going to transition over to Everspace 2 now. But, yes. That's the... If somebody may have even noticed, maybe somebody even thought like, oh, what about the lore? Because I think I saw that saying colonial warship there. If you did catch that, good eye. If you didn't, well, I guess I just spoiled it for you a little bit. But there is a reason why that is a colonial warship working alongside the Okar. As I previously mentioned in the stream, we talked about the Okar colonial conflict and the rules stipulating that the colonials are not to be present in the demilitarized zone, which is this area we are flying through. We are a colonial ship. They're firing at us. Why aren't they firing at that warship? You may be wondering. Story! That is why. All right, so we are going to go ahead and dive on out of this game, transition over to Everspace 2. In this process, we are going to take a light break, so I appreciate your patience as I get myself resituated. Don't worry too much. It's not going to be too long, maybe just a couple minutes or so as I refill my water. So I'll see you all in just a moment. Take a stretch, a potty break, whatever you need, and we'll be back moments. Alright, boys and girls, we are back. I have some fun little things that I just wanted to show you from my desktop. What? Oh my gosh. So yeah, I am just showing you my desktop right here. Just some fun stuff that we had in our fan art section throughout the course of the week, which was just delightful. You guys are always fun. Check this out. Look at this. Oh my gosh. Is this not the coolest thing ever? It's a Lego Sentinel. Oh my goodness. Seriously cool stuff. Really good work too. All the stuff that I'm sharing right now was shared in the Rockfish Discord, where we just had lots of fun. We also had somebody go ahead and add the Millennium Falcon in game. It's pretty good. I think it could have received some additional green coloration there, but you know, I'll buy it. It's fine. It's good. It's always fun. We also had this really incredible rework screenshot from Everspace 2. Added some nice coloration there. Which, by the way, we're going to be diving in here into Everspace 2 really quick, really shortly, excuse me. And I will let you all know immediately that we are making these screenshots so much more easy to play around with to your delight. As of right now, I think the only things we really have in effect are like this depth of field adjuster. But, yeah, I guess that's what it is. But look at me questioning everything. You can also adjust color, adjust angles, stuff like that. Whenever we get to full release, we'll have more information about the screenshots that you will be taking as they come out. But for now, the stuff that people have been posting in the Discord is seriously great. It's seriously really cool. So definitely loving this stuff. We also had this one. This is from a community member. Man, that white is so bright, so I apologize. But this is from a community member who's been around for quite some time now, and everything he does is just gorgeous. And this is another Everspace 2 screenshot. No, this is Everspace 1. Oh, wow, look at how clean that looks. That's from Everspace 1 even. Is that not crazy? That is crazy. That is Everspace 1 screenshot. And it's only going to get better from here, folks. Only going to get better from here. So thank you all for your contributions of the Discord, really. You guys are really the champions. So we're going to go ahead and jump on over to Everspace 2 now. Oh my gosh, we're going to be talking about all the things. Why do I have a black screen? Hang on. We will get this fixed in just a moment. I'm certain of it. Yes, no, maybe? There it is. All right. Cool. So we're going to dive into Everspace 2 now. What we are using is a prototype build that was distributed to all of our Kickstarter backers at the end of last year. So some of you have already seen this. In fact, I'd say that a pretty decent number of people who are here have seen this content. But don't let that sideline you and think that there's nothing new to see here, folks. There is still a lot of questions that need to be answered, and I hope that you will supply them through the course of our demonstration here. I also want to address some other little details as well. Like, for example, one of the things within this experience is that we do not have Cockpit View yet. That is in the works. I would love to show it to you. It's just not there. And there's also going to be a tremendous amount of content beyond what you just see in the prototype. Of course, I still need to lay that out because some people are like, oh man, it has so much stuff, it needs to be shipped out. This is less than 5% of the full game, okay? This is less than 5% of the full game experience. There's so much more coming. So if you're even tantalized in a tiny capacity from this, just wait for what's coming. There is so much more that we are doing. Skylu asks a good question that Michael has responded to, so I'm going to share this so everybody can hear. Skylu63 says, why Everspace was sold in Europe only 3,000 copies for material game on Nintendo Switch? And Michael said, we couldn't find a retail publisher, so that was the minimum order that we funded ourselves. I want to put a little bit of more emphasis on here, which I think is really good for us, for you, is that we are entirely self-published. So all of our workings go through ourselves. We're not bound to somebody telling us how it is and how to do things. We are making these active decisions. So anybody who did support us through the Kickstarter, and whenever we get to early access later this year, when you are putting your money towards us, it's not getting cut and distributed to anybody else. Well, I mean, aside from Kickstarter, of course, from the end. My point is it's coming directly to us, and it will be implemented directly into the experience. Like, it's all going to asset creation. It's going to making sure our lights are on and our toilets are functioning, because it's kind of important. It's making sure that we can pay careful attention to details and all of that stuff. Like, that's what that funding is going directly towards, because we are in full control of how everything is managed. So it does suck in some capacities because, just as Michael said, we only had 3,000 copies for the Nintendo Switch in a physical capacity, but it opens up the door for a lot other opportunities that I think you'll be satisfied once we're able to make those announcements in time. So thank you for your understanding with all of that. Let's go ahead and dump into this game. So right out of the gate, we see that we have this Sentinel, which is very much the same Sentinel from Everspace 1, except completely different. What do I mean by that? Well, essentially, it's the same by class alone. Otherwise, the make and the model are impeccably different here. So not only from an aesthetic standpoint, but also from a functionality standpoint. And granted, everything you see in this prototype, it's a work in progress. So these, some of these features of like the devices assigned to the ships, they are going to be flipped around. They're going to be changed. In fact, I can just straight up tell you right now that we do not... we don't have plans of making Cloak the finalized device that begins on the Sentinel. It's probably going to come out on a different ship that would make more sense for it to be consistent with from the first game. But we wanted to give you an opportunity to see what it looked like through development, which is why it exists on the Sentinel right from the hangar. We also have the Interceptor. Again, same situation. It looks kind of similar even this time around, but I can assure you this is not the same branded Interceptor that we saw from Everspace 1. I don't see any colonial markings on this bad boy. Instead, I see Coalition. I wonder what that's all about. Shout out to Ben. Woo! Next, we have this Assault Fighter. This is yet a new class, the first new class in Everspace 2 within the medium ship class range. This is going to be a nice blend of your... it's kind of like an Interceptor meets gunship. A light... Gunship light. That's what we're going to call it. This is going to be your gunship light as we develop things forward. But you'll see that each of these ships in time is going to offer an incredibly unique experience, even though they're all within the same class. And we're not done with classes. We have other classes as well. We've already talked about the gunship, the Defender, and the Guardian, I think is what they're called. And we've also hinted towards the light ships like the Scout. Each one of these is going to fill a unique role and have unique powers and abilities to change up your playstyle in a lot of different ways. And we're still even just talking about ships alone. I hope that you guys know that we mean really serious business when we're talking about ship customization, all right? We are using a modular-based approach, which is how we can add a lot of diversity to the look of the ship as well. So you have different wing structures compared to the body, different engines. I think we saw this in a screenshot, actually, on the Discord. For all of your different takes of how you want to go flying in style. These different ship components, I think we're still deciding how this is going to be distributed in the full game. I don't think it's locked in place yet, but the plan is that you're going to be able to experience all of these different wings and bodies and engine types through the ships that you're purchasing, in some capacity at least. Obviously, since I'm cycling through them right now. This is our poster boy, which was just added as an emoji in our Discord. Good job, Will. He's known as Shuzan. He is our streaming influencer coordinator person. That didn't sound very official at all. He's fantastic with streamers. That is what I'm trying to say. And he is such a professional. Definitely encourage you guys to speak to him about any emoji requests as well, because he does really good work with that. I know that Matsumuri also has some experience with doing emojis. He's also very good at it. Definitely talk to us if you want to see something get added, and we'll see if we can make it happen. Awesome. So, let's go ahead and fly this one out, because I really like the way that this ship looks, especially the engines. Engines are just, oh my gosh. That extra blue glow, it just makes me so happy. So there are a number of things that are just completely different in Everspace 2 that were in Everspace 1. So the first thing we're going to talk about is weapon damage distribution. You ready for this? Weapon damage distribution. So we are using a pulse laser that is doing maximum hull damage to these targets. This is different. This is very different in this build than it was in Everspace 1, and I want to talk about why. So here, the pulse laser identifies two specific damage types, okay? So it's no longer hull DPS and shield DPS. Instead, it is now kinetic DPS and energy DPS. So, true to form, the pulse laser deals a lot more energy DPS than it does kinetic DPS. Also, welcome to the stream, Frito. Wonderful to have you here. Always a pleasure to have you. And it was great hanging out with you and your wife and child whenever we were down at PAX South. You are a rock star. So, energy deals max damage, all of that delicious energy DPS, to shields. Okay, so pulse laser drains shields so fast. It's just an absolute savage. Okay? The kinetic DPS is absorbed completely by shields. Okay? You with me so far? Sounds like energy DPS is shield DPS and kinetic is hull DPS, but nope. This is where it's going to get crazy different, alright? Armor. First you have shields. Once the shields go down, then you have armor. Armor completely absorbs energy DPS. All that energy DPS doesn't take any damage of it at all. But the kinetic DPS deals full damage to armor. So this pulse laser really going to suck once you drain their shields, because it's not going to be able to get through their armor very well. However, that enemy we just took out and those turrets we just took out, they didn't actually have any armor whatsoever, so that's why we were able to drop them really quickly with the pulse laser. Because the hull will take maximum damage from the highest DPS bit of the weapon. So because our energy DPS is higher than kinetic DPS, the hull is taking full damage from that energy DPS. All right? That's how it works. Shields take damage from energy weapons. Armor takes damage from kinetic weapons. Hull takes the maximum damage from either. Got it? This is important to know as we move into the game space of Everspace 2. Why did we do this, you might be wondering? Well, it's because by separating out armor as its own unique resource that you have to manage for your health, we can make far more interesting enemy types and AI patterns that are entirely bound around the setup. It also creates so much more diversity within our item pool itself that you'll be customizing your builds out for. So our itemization can get crazy just because of little details like this blaster is actually a perfect example. 10% of energy damage bypasses the armor. So now we're starting to mix and match various qualities of the weapon energy DPS, kinetic DPS, and just one additional modifier. The depth of what you'll be able to do is just gonna get positively ridiculous. Everspace 2 will not be able to release on the Switch, Skylu. It's a great question. The Switch is just not a powerful enough machine to handle what Everspace 2 will deliver. Now, that being said, if Nintendo were to come out with some new console in the near future, and we had the opportunity to jump over on that, there's something could happen, but not for the Switch. Not for the Switch, unfortunately. Oh, Matsumura, you answered it. My bad. Matsumura's got you. Thank you. Hey, Grindel. Positively lovely having you here. Grindel's actually our resident wiki editor. Very good stuff. Are there any hopes or plans to eventually expand the Everspace universe to other types of media such as books, comics, streaming series, etc.? Paleon lives. You are a man after my own heart. Or a woman. I don't know. I can't see you. But what I do know is that I think that would be amazing. Time will tell. I saw that eyebrow raised just now. I'm sure he's hinting at something. You guys and you're reading into things. Oh my gosh. I love you so much. Let's keep playing. And remember, I'm showing you a lot of what's going on here in Everspace 2. If you have questions about the stuff that I'm talking about, please ask, because I know there's a lot. There's a lot of new, there's a lot of interesting, and there's a lot of fantastic that's shown up here. In fact, let's talk about some of these little things. Kinetic plating, I just found a superior plating as opposed to our standard. This reduces our collision damage by 21%. That's really nice. I also want to address this. I know sometimes negative percentages in games can be a little misleading and confusing. When it says minus 21% collision damage, that means like if you were to take 100 damage from colliding into a rock, it's reducing that damage. It's subtracting 21% of that, so you would actually only take, math is hard, 79. You only take 79 damage because you would be using this armor, okay? So it's not minus 21%, meaning that you would take more damage from colliding. This is a reduction of the damage when you collide. All right? Little details like that I think are important to note. Boom. Then we have this energy core, which adds 10 firepower. What's firepower, you might ask? This is a great question. Let me show you. Oh, wait, I can't because it's not available in this version. Basically, all of the ships have various attributes applied to them. Think of this as like a Dungeons & Dragons character, okay? If you're not familiar with Dungeons & Dragons, let me break it down for you. You have strength, dexterity, constitution, knowledge, wisdom, and charisma, okay? These different modifiers indicate different aspects of your body, your mind, and generally of like your spirit as a whole and how you participate with that character. Just like that, in Everspace 2, we have these different attributes behind the scenes, one of which is firepower. It's kind of like your strength, if you will, that are modified through the use of these items that will enhance these various attributes of your ship. You with me? I hope so, because we're moving on. Let's go destroy some more stuff. So you will see a couple of things being carried over here, like these outlaw scouts. I want to just show you this guy real quick, because some people, oh man, he's stuck, so this is perfect. Let's fly in real close. Oh my gosh, that's funny. All right. So this outlaw scout, in comparison, let's see if we can get a decent angle here. This outlaw scout, the detail work on the scout, it's hard to get a good angle here, unfortunately, but basically what I'm trying to show you, as he's completely ramming into this metal piece in space, because we haven't refined our AI. It's a work in progress, damn it, okay? It'll be better. There's a lot more detail work here, not because we pulled over a model and added some stuff. No. This is a completely new model. Like, we're replacing the assets from Everspace 1 into Everspace 2. We're not cutting any corners here, okay? That's the whole point of me showing this. Okay, a lot more details on these ships. A lot more details. All right, let's destroy him, because that's slightly embarrassing. Okay. And then we also have entirely new ships, of course, as any sequel to a game would do. Like this Madcap, which if you're in too close, they drop a minefield. And then an escape pod that you then have to combat shortly after as well. So, a lot of ships you get up close and personal. It doesn't really matter. It's fine to engage in that capacity and you're rewarded for it. But the Madcap, the closer you get, the more dangerous things become, really. Oh, hey, we leveled up. Wonderful. This is also new in Everspace 2. The more you progress, the more perks and more abilities that you'll be able to unlock for your character. And your character perks and abilities, those will be applied no matter what ship you are flying in. They are just naturally enhanced. I almost said natural enhancements. Oh my gosh! And now I said it. Perfect. 10 out of 10 stream would watch again. Anyway, my point is that when you get these power-ups on your character, you can take those and customize those pertaining to unique playstyles anywhere else on your various ships. We have layers of customization here, okay? We've got your pilot customization, we have your ship customization, and we have your itemization customization. Whew! All right? Tons of layers. You're going to be able to go off in a lot of different directions of how you want to play the game here. All that it requires is adding a little bit of time to the game to find what you're looking for. Now here we are going to pummel this thing with our blaster because it deals a lot of damage to armor. And then we're going to grab one of these barrel bombs and throw it back at him. That's right, we now have a grapple mechanic for those of you who don't know. Oh, I'm so excited about this. Basically, it's a gravity gun. It's basically a gravity gun on the front of your ship. And you can grab onto various objects. And in some capacity, you will be able to upgrade it throughout your run to where you're going to be grappling drones. You're going to be grappling asteroids, small. You're going to be grappling various internal workings of space stations and ripping them apart. Doing a lot of stuff with this thing, okay? You'll even be able to save other ships from their demise. Perhaps there's a stranded guy somewhere and he just like really needs your help to drag him to a nearby station. It's actually present in the... I know that you've all played it, at least a lot of you have, within the prototype. Like there's a guy, you can find him, help him out by dragging his sorry booty back to base. And of course, because there's a lot of loot, we're also going to need ways to hold more, right? This cargo unit, oh man, we got a boring common one. That's too bad. But these cargo units expand the number of slots that you can hold gear with, but these also can have unique modifiers on them. These unique modifiers, again, are going to help synergize and customize your entire itemization customization, okay? Big words. Big words! And it's important. Alright, so now let's go into the realm of why this game is considered an open world RPG. And we're here. So we're leaving that planet behind. And we're going to this star. In fact, I'm gonna control here. See, I am in full control of where I'm going in this very massive space. In this solar system, we are controlling everything. Oh, Michael. Okay, so Michael dropped a really cool thing in Twitch chat. I want to make sure everyone knows this as well. This kind of goes back to the assets I was talking about with the ship ship with the outlaw ship and how it's completely different. So he says, we have an entirely new 3D asset pipeline for adding so much more detail to player and NPC ships, so all game assets are created from scratch for Everspace 2. All right? It's a new game. We aren't Madden. We're not going to take the previous assets and just call it something new. No, that's not us. We are, in fact, making sure everything... I gotta be careful with my shots fired. Someone's gonna get mad. Oh, gosh. I kid because I love. Beautiful! But yeah, Kickstarter updates for more info. This is actually a really important piece of information to share. There are a lot of details that get passed around that way. What's the outlook on native Linux support? So Frito, we are currently developing the game through Proton. I know it's not native Linux, but it is operating quite successfully on Proton, and we will continue to do so through the course of development. When we get to early access, there's a chance we'll have a native Linux support build, but I don't know how likely that's going to be. As you probably are aware, if we develop also for Linux at the same time of development, we're basically using two entirely different developmental builds at once. It's like designing two games through the pipeline to hit a deadline, which can be a little bit dangerous. So what's likely going to happen is we'll continue to develop through Proton, and at full release, we will drop it for native Linux, and then do the troubleshooting from there. I know, it's pretty wild, but know that we do care about our Linux fans and definitely give you all kinds of support in the process, and we will do our absolute best to make sure it's operating to its full potential. All right? So thank you for being patient with us in that regard, and we'll do what we can. Oh yeah, absolutely, and you're welcome. You're welcome, Frito. So does this mean Everspace 2 will hit Google Stadia? Vapin gamers, if we do have any announcements for where Everspace 2 is going to launch, we will let you know basically either when we find out or when we're allowed to tell you. As of right now, the main locations that the game will be out on are Steam, GOG, and that's going to be through PC, Mac, and Linux, and then also PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. That doesn't mean those are the only locations the game will be available. It's more than possible it could come out on more, but like I said, we will let you know whenever we know and whenever we're able to share the news. All right? But good stuff. Some people like it, some people don't. It's totally fine. The main reason why we would be considering other options at all is to reach our fantastic player base, right? So I'm not gonna knock on any other locations where games can come from. I want to keep it real for everybody, however you play. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and fly manually to this location. All right, so I've locked onto it, and it's just manually flying towards it. And we're gonna see what happens because this is a big space. Ooh, 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 ooh. We have an unknown signal. So that means... Oh, and we got intercepted. So we're going to do this quick little mini game of avoiding this combat with somebody who's locked onto our signal to mess with us. And we escaped, so now we can go to this unknown signal. And hopefully... Yes. So you'll see that right where we were at in space... Ooh, that cargo ship's under attack. Right where we are in space, all the planetoids, all of the little cosmic effects out in the world, they're all exactly where they were when we entered this location. We now fully exist at this unknown signal right here, even though it was a randomly created location. How about that? How about that? So we're going to go see what's going on to these freighters. Whoops, here we go. zip on over using our cruise drive, which is a new addition because space is much larger in Everspace 2, and we want to make sure you can get around. Man, they're taking a lot of damage. Oh, it's because there's a bomber firing at them. Ouch! Man, I don't know if I want to help out here. This would be dangerous. Wow, they are getting destroyed. Alright, so you'll see there's a sliver of armor left. So we're going to use our blaster. We have to get up close and personal. Now that the shields are down, he's going to drop seriously fast. Man, there's a lot of outlaw bombing these guys. Here, let's use our pulse laser because it's more consistent, more accurate, rather, at firing. We got these drones. Ooh, some loot drop. Camouflage array, alright. Is that all of them? I think it is. Wow, you ain't looking so good. But you're welcome for the help. Perfect. So little instances like this, these can actually really benefit you based on what type of unknown signals that you find. Some of them can also hurt you if you don't make the right calls. Let's go over here to this base and see what's going on. I always push the wrong button. Oh. Well, I see what's going on. The GMB forces flew too close to this outlaw base. That makes a pretty good reason why they got assaulted. Outlaw drone over there. What else do we have in here? Just some stuff we can blow up. I don't see any loot nearby, unfortunately. Just whatever's dropping from their corpses. But a nice little site. Ooh, here we go. There could be something in this debris field over here. Yes, there are. Look at these containers. Credits and an energy injector. Wonderful. Iron plate. Coil gun. Wonderful. It pays to explore. Found some clothing even? That's nice. Alright. So now we are going to fly on out and head to this star. And for those of you who don't like waiting around and you just want to get to where you point and go, like an Everspace 1, you can do that. I just held down the R button and it said, alright, we're there. So we didn't have to wait, we didn't have to travel that entire distance from that last point. We just warped there magically. Excellent. I missed a comment, I know I did. What did I miss? Got it. The size of this system alone makes me kind of excited. No Name Accepted says, hey, I am very glad that that excites you. I want to show you something else real quick. I don't know how much of this you have seen or not, but let's just scroll back a little bit. So currently, as of right now, we are looking towards 8 different solar systems. Here we go. 8 different solar systems that will all be finely decorated with uniquely handcrafted locations for your exploring pleasure. All right? So, how many does that mean? Basically, each one of these points, I'm just gonna ballpark it here. It could be higher, it could be maybe even lower than this, but we are looking to have at least about 10 handcrafted locations at each of these solar systems, so that they don't rely on some procedural generation that makes everything kind of samey after a while, except they're different colors. Like, very intentional layouts of levels, as well as planet-side locations, various cosmic anomalies and encounters, all of that stuff, building it from the ground up and placing it as it needs for making it the most enjoyable it can possibly be. Lots and lots and lots of things in a lot of different locations. So this is but one location, one solar system that has the 4 different sites from the prototype here, but then there's a lot that you can't get to yet, including some that are planet-side. Can't show it to you just yet. We're still working on it. But there will also be means of travel, of course. And I'm sure that there's going to be more than just one means of travel, because otherwise there's nothing connecting to this location. How would you ever get there? Guess we'll have to find out in a future update. So here's a little mission. Scientists are asking us to do a thing. I'll let them talk to us here. Also, this is a really good time to point out, all of the vocals in Everspace 2 will be fully voiced in both English and in German. All right? All of the vocals, all of the dialogues, all of it, both in English and German. Now, if you are speaking natively of another language, please note that those two are the fully voiced, but we will have a large assortment. We'll have a large assortment of other languages that we will localize for, much like we did in Everspace 1. So definitely keep your eyes peeled for that as we move forward. There is so much more dialogue, like words, the word count in Everspace 2, it's actually insane compared to Everspace 1. So definitely be patient with us through the localization process, but we will have quite the delight when it comes to all of your RPG needs and the story that unfolds. Oh, there will definitely be translated Russian, but not Russian speaking. Yeah, we do have a lot of Russian fans, though. You're right. So our job here is to basically activate all of these solar panels. There's a lot of other stuff going on. I'm just kind of like avoiding it. I do want to show this one, though. It's an uphill slope. Just a little example of various mini games that you'll come across in space as well, where if you can complete various challenges, especially within time limits or by accomplishing certain feats, you will be rewarded accordingly. Very basic example. We'll make it look a lot cleaner than that in the future. For now, it just looks like gotta go fast because of the rings. It's a joke. All right. Ooh, we were really close to that madcap. That was dangerous. Level 3. So, actually, this is a good time to mention with the levels, you do get a little bit of a statistical increase every time you level up. There will be a lot more that comes with that at the full game. We talked about it a little bit already, but like you'll have various perks that your pilot can get to customize things further. There could probably be some other elements. Maybe. Alright, so we activated all of those solar relays. So the scientist is going to reward us for our efforts. And we discover, spoiler, he didn't actually want to pay us. So we're not getting paid very much at all, which kind of sucks, really sucks, for doing that job. And you're going to run into a lot of different characters and a lot of different missions that if you pay attention close enough, you're going to see that they might not actually be as good as they sound like. So depending on what you do and how you wish to accomplish it, you can really capitalize on some situations or get really screwed over. French, don't know if the material American version of Everspace 1 on Switch can be in French. Just text, not voices. I think that we do have it in French. Yeah, I'm pretty confident, actually. that we haven't infringed. In fact, let me just look. Let me just look really quick. 1 second. 1 second. I want to confirm this for you. Yep. Everspace is definitely infringed. Nailed it. And we're back. So let's talk a little bit about shops and various locations that you can go to through the course of Everspace 2. Since there's a lot of space that you can navigate towards, there's also a lot of opportunity. Various locations will have this little symbol right there. That is actually the shop symbol and the jump gate symbol. These symbols are not updated. We've got better looking stuff now. But anyway, basically, these indicate that there are shops nearby, and there's obviously a shop here because we're docked at it right now. And the various shops all over the place are going to offer an assortment of goods, maybe even pertaining to a particular faction, if that's where you're running into, or particular... I always forget the word for this. Basically, a unique merchant, right? So you have like two different competing corporations. Like you might have one that's selling very specific gear versus another that's selling very specific gear. That's what I mean to talk about. Basically, the stations that you go to, you're going to have some highs and lows depending on what you seek. And you'll also have those highs and lows pertaining to what you sell as well. So perhaps this trading station over in this unknown location, they just really like chocolate. Okay, I'm talking like there's no chocolate in this entire solar system, all right? Zero chocolate. But all the way over here in Perilous, all right, there's a planet made of chocolate, okay? It's an example, all right? Just roll with me here. They have so much chocolate that if you try and sell to this station over here, it's basically worthless. Like, they'll give you half a credit for each piece. But you go all the way over here to the Cedo system, and you go to this shop, they are just craving chocolate. They're going to buy it from you like 10,000 credits per chocolate, right? This is what I'm talking about with all of these unique stations and their unique factions and their unique job boards and their unique... commodities that they're buying and selling as well. Like, you're really going to be able to figure out trade lanes and routes and stuff like that to really exploit the system to your favor. There are diamond-like planets out there. That was probably a better example. Maybe chocolate was a little bit silly, but you get the point, right? These are things that we are working on and will happen. So, let's go ahead and buy and sell. In the prototype, none of that really exists. Oh my gosh, what a build-up. We're doing all of these things. Now I'm going to show you where it's not affecting anything. Sorry about that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to just show you very briefly, like, if I wanted to buy this, I would have to sell one of these things, but we can buy and sell, or we can buy and move to cargo. We have various little quality of life features here. Whenever we sell a good, we can determine how many we want to sell. It shows us how much cargo space we have, how much we'll profit from it. All of these little details, we are keeping you in mind so that you have the best understanding of all of your trading and merchanting needs. So for here, we're just liquidating. And you'll also see that a lot of these are like uncommons and commons and rares and stuff like that. Various resources alone. We may or may not have some different utility options for holding on to resources. A lot of people have been speculating a crafting mechanic. And, we had crafting in Everspace 1, so we'll see where we go in Everspace 2, and when the time is right, we'll probably have more information on that for you. Beautiful. Nice clean cargo hold. This is what I like to see. Are there any things that's better than what we have? No, those are exactly the same. Those are exactly the same. That's actually... I'm gonna buy that. So this cargo unit, even though it gives us the same number of cargo slots, it has plus 51 handling change, which means we now have better maneuverability with our ship, which I'm a big fan of. Many of you out there know that I'm a big fan of the Scout. It's my favorite, and could not be further from the truth, even in the bounds of Everspace 2. What time do we have? LOL Hype, are you in the chat? Because I think you were working on a video. I wanted to show that to the fine folks at home. Oh, I see you. Oh, yeah, you're just talking about it as well. Perfect. I'm going to show this last little bit off, and then we're going to jump over to a community video by LOL Hype, a local, LOL By, rather. A man of many names. So, because you have this grapple mechanic, you can also find goods like power cores, which are effectively keys that if you take to the lock, you can open them up and get sweet loot. These are very simply placed, but I can assure you we'll have some puzzle solving galore depending on what area you're in and what the requirements are of what you're trying to achieve. I don't think there's any bigger pieces of debris around here that we can grapple, but you will also be able to do that as well. Yeah, I don't think any of these pieces we can grab. But you can like grab a piece of debris and use it as a shield when you're attacked, and then throw the piece of debris at your opponent while barraging them with missiles. Stuff like that. There's going to be some particularly interesting ways that you can enter into combat should you desire it. Should you desire it. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and cut the stream off here, and we're going to transition over to LOL Hype's video that he has been working on. I know that you guys should be excited about it. So as we wait for the video, I do want to remind you all that you can get so much information by going over to our Discord community. This is where we met, really, LOL By in the first place. He also came to Gamescom, so that counts. But, like, he's been very active on the Discord. You can be, too. And the stuff that you create on the Discord, the stuff that you share, like, this is something that we love to showcase in these community streams. It's just a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. So let's see. I am going to pull the first one. Oh, yes. Yeah, we already watched the first one. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to watch this second one here. Just a moment once I prepare it accordingly. And we're back. Excellent. Gonna pump up the desktop audio and watch the Everspace 2 fan trailer from actually, I should check. You didn't do anything naughty in this video, right? Because I haven't approved this. I haven't watched this first. I'm going to start approving them from here on out because I know you. All right. Excellent. Here we go. Let's see the Everspace 2 fan trailer exploration. Dang. Those are some great cuts. Nice. Woo! Dang, dude, that was sick. That was seriously awesome. Well done, sir. Oh my gosh. That was very, very slick. So if you out there too have been working on a little project just to build up that hype train, just show your love for Rockfish Games, let us know, because we want to show it to the world. This is great. Man, your content just gets better and better, LOL Hype, LOL Bye. What do you want to be known by? I'm just going to call you LOL. Oh my gosh, it's great stuff though. And I'm really happy to run into you guys from the community just to do this really fun stuff. It's really, really great. Excellent. So with this last few minutes here for the stream, we have about 7 minutes. I would just like to open this up for any discussion really pertaining to Everspace 1 and Everspace 2. I know that there are a lot of questions out there, so I want to be very intentional in responding to you about what it is that we're working on and everything else that's coming. So in the meantime, I'm just going to pull up some I don't know, various pictures like this, which are just crazy insane. This is just highlighting all the wings, for example, of the medium ship class. So the assault fighter on the left, Interceptor in the middle, Sentinel on the right. There's a lot of different wings. Look, I'm even covering some of them. A lot of different wing setups and whatnot that we'll be doing. I know you guys got questions. I'm here for you. Man, I'm really looking forward to being able to show you guys new ships and new game mechanics when the time is right. I know that several of you come by the stream specifically for news and updates, and I'm not so sure what's on the docket next to reveal, but what I can tell you is that we take a lot of really good care and making sure we're not showing stuff that's going to end up changing or not be like something that's valuable to you. We have a very delicate process when it comes to development, and we don't want to put all of the proverbial eggs in one basket because there's still a lot of development time. And the reason I'm saying this is I really appreciate everybody's patience as we go through this process and understanding what that looks like, and also really thanking you for your feedback and your support through this process as well. You guys are the ones that give us the drive to create this game. And it's so much fun to see what's going on in your minds and like how you like how your desires are lining up with what we want to do, or how they're not, and how we can transform that to make it coincide with one another. Like there's such a pleasure being a part of this whole wild ride together with you. So thank you, sincerely. Thank you so much for being here. Paleron Lives asks a really good question, and I'm delighted to help answer it. How does difficulty scaling work in Everspace 2? Do enemies level up at the same rate as the player, or are some areas much harder than others? So it's a combination of both of how we are moving forward at this time. It's a work in progress, so things can change and develop. But the way that we would like to design it is that you have very intentionally difficult locations that you would venture towards, and also more casual locations that you could venture into. That way you can choose, once you have the knowledge of what's where, you can choose the difficulty level, if you will, based on what your actions are. In addition to that, as you are leveling up, that also means that the lesser areas aren't going to be nearly as important, especially for like grinding for loot, right? If you want to get the best equipment, it's not going to make sense to go pester some level 1s and 2s. So we are designing mechanics behind where you're leveling up to inflate and to strengthen. Strengthen's a much better word. Those areas of the game that will still provide some form of benefit for venturing back towards. Because otherwise it makes no sense to be at, say, like level 50 and all your minis dropping level 5 loot. So a combination of both. A very good question. I also want to add one more little thing to that. We are exploring the opportunities of how the AI operates on these ships as well. So what that means is that, like, your level 1 fighter, he's going to fly at your face and attack you. You run into a level 15 fighter, he might fly behind an asteroid and break line of sight with you. And so then you like try to fly around the asteroid and he's gone. You're like, what in the world? And then suddenly you're being attacked from behind because he went cloak and snuck up behind you and started assailing you from that angle. So there will be, let me say that again. We are looking into modifying the AI results to higher levels as opposed to just making a statistical increase for the level of the enemy you face. That way it's actually meaningful, we feel like, as opposed to an illusion of difficulty. So, really, really good question. Frito asks, will the Kickstarter backer build that was pushed to Steam be updated with anything that was demoed at cons? I.e., would we be getting a push to that before early access opens? This is another really good question. The answer is no, it is not. The prototype is exactly that. It is just a slice of what the full game is going to be like, and it will receive no updates whatsoever. So you're finding bugs and you're reporting them. Doesn't actually mean anything because we probably actually already fixed the bug. Pretty confidently saying that, in fact. And we've already been pushing that into the alpha build that will be available about April for all of those who are in the alpha tier. Right around the corner. That alpha build, however, will receive all full updates as it moves into the beta, and the beta into the early access, and the early access into the full build itself. What's going to be max level? Ask Vape and Game. So honestly, the thing is that it doesn't actually, like, I could tell you a number right now, and it doesn't actually matter. Right? Because what matters is like what's associated to the level climb and how that's going to impact the gameplay experience. So I could say it's 1,000, but that doesn't really mean anything. I could say it's 100. I could say it's 10. I could say it's 50. I could say it's 724.3. That's the level cap right there, right? The more important thing about the level is how is that shaping the gameplay, right? And that is what we're designing the experience around. It's not necessarily how high can you climb, it's about how are you climbing. Is that a fair response? There's a lot of PvE, right? I'm not a fan of PvP much. Yeah, it's a single player experience. My timer is going off, which tells me it is 3 p.m. where I live. It is the end of the stream. Everybody, thank you so much for coming out here, hanging out, and being a boss. Let's look at a little bit of gunship wingage and concept art. Oh my goodness. I just really am thankful for this community. Seriously, you guys are the rock stars. You are the ones who make this stream. It's the community stream. You're the ones who make this possible. So thank you for coming out and being along for the ride. I am going to pop this stream back over to the promo wait page because you do need to check out all of these fine links to be in the know, to hang out with us, and all of that fun stuff. It's super important. It's super important to stay connected, knowing whenever we go live with these streams, whenever we are doing anything fancy, making all the things known, like inform yourself, join the Discord, follow us on Twitter, definitely give us a follow over here on Twitch so that you can be the first to be in the know. It's so good all the time, forever. And yeah, that's all I got. So I have to do one last thing because I always do it. Even though it's a black screen behind me, you guys have been awesome. I have been Eric Schrader, Community Ambassador for Rockfish Games. Don't stop being awesome, and I will see you in the next stream. Toodles! Oh, and there's new stuff next week.